We recommend using a headphone for our podcast. We also recommend you turn off the light in your room and be alone. It will give you the best experience through the paranormal universe. It's the real-life mystery that's haunted Russia for over half a century. Could the deaths of 9 experienced hikers in the Dyatlov Pass finally be explained? People die on the mountains all the time. They're dangerous places, with many ways to kill an inexperienced or unwary traveler. But the deaths of 9 experienced Russian hikers in the Ural Mountains in 1959 was something different. The mystery around exactly how they died has sparked endless speculation, covering everything from avalanches to mass insanity to yetis to aliens. It's a real-life Soviet-era X-file that's never been solved, based on the real-life declassified case files. In 1959, a group of 9 Soviet students set out on a winter camping expedition. They were headed into the Ural Mountains to an area known as Kolosako in the local language Dead Mountain. The group of 9 young students was experienced hikers and they were led by a young man named Igor Dyatlov. He was confident, experienced, he could handle harsh weather. When they failed to show up 10 days after their expected rendezvous, Soviet government feared the worst and sent in a helicopter looking for them, and it found some of them dead, scattered away from their tent. The strangest thing was their tent had been cut open from the inside out. This is what would become known as the Dyatlov incident. When they found these first 5 students, they were in various states of disarray. Some were missing shirts, other people were stripped almost entirely naked. 2 of them had gone off and apparently started a campfire, but they were unburnt branches next to them and their hands had been burned in the process. There were no other tracks to be found, no people, no animals. 3 months later, they were able to find the remaining victims. One of them was missing her tongue, another had his chest crushed, 2 of them had skull fractures, and their bodies were said to be a strange orange color, and their hair had gone gray. The Soviet government opened a case and closed it just as quickly, saying they'd all been killed by a compelling natural force. One of the investigators compared the force required to injure a human so severely to that of a car crash. The injuries were absolutely not caused by force exerted by another human being. Once again, no soft tissue damage was observed, as though the skiers' bodies were crushed by pressure. When Dubinina was found to be missing her tongue, the theory of another party's possible involvement must have arisen again. Who would do this? Why? Or did another skier from the group cut it out? And where did it go? The files were kept secret for years, making it a subject of much whispering and conspiracy. When they were finally released, some very strange things were contained in the files. 1. The bodies were said to be slightly radioactive. It was also found that locals saw some strange bright lights in the sky that evening. Along with the theories are aliens and yetis are some more sober-minded thoughts. Maybe they were killed by local hunters, but there was no evidence of this kind of struggle and no footprints of anyone except the 9 hikers. One of the theories that emerged around the question of radioactivity was perhaps they've been accidentally dosed in some sort of secret government test. Maybe this is why the government had closed and kept secret the files for so long. There is a new scientifically grounded idea that may provide the explanation, but it is almost as outlandish as aliens or Bigfoot. If you've ever gone into a building and gotten the sense that something is deeply wrong, some scientists believe that there is a connection between these haunted sites and something called infrasound sound that exists just below the level of our hearing. At this level, it starts to play strange tricks on the human mind. In an experiment with hundreds of people, 22% of them, when exposed to infrasound, had experiences of extreme fear, terror, sorrow, general nausea and anxiousness overwhelmed them. And infrasound can be produced both artificially and in nature. On that night, high winds may have created an infrasound echo chamber. and it may have been that Igor Dyatlov was convinced that what he was hearing was an avalanche coming towards him. They all went scattering into the night in sub-zero temperatures. Some of them, it seems, maybe fell down a mountainside. The 4 that were found later, and said to be orange and gray-haired, had undergone a certain amount of natural mummification. They had just been exposed to the elements for too long. The missing tongue, that's a raven or another forest creature getting a snack. The crust chest may have just been the pressure of snowpack slowly compressing this body over months and months. So, well, we may never know the real answer to this mystery. The best theory out there is that the Ural Mountains themselves, the harsh environment, is what killed them, but it was the wind itself that drove them. Thank you for watching. We upload new episodes every other day. Subscribe to join the haunted journey.